The Gemara tells us in Brachas, Rav Soli Shel Shabbos Be'erev Shabbos, that Rav all year round, or I don't know if he did it exactly every Shabbos all year round, but potentially Rav felt he could make Shabbos early, and apparently he davened and, as we'll see, had the Suda as well. And how could Rav make Kiddush early? Kiddush, as we all know, is a mitzvah min Torah. How much of Kiddush is min Torah? That's the share we've given in the past. But clearly, minimally speaking, the reciting of the Kiddush is a biblical mitzvah. So how could Rav make Kiddush early if Kiddush is a biblical mitzvah and it's not Shabbos yet? Hence, that leaves many of the Rishonim, the Or Zarua and others, to conclude, we see from here, that Tosefes Shabbos is a mitzvah min Torah. Because if you assume Tosefes Shabbos is only a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, how could I do a mitzvah min Torah in a Zman d'Rabbanan? It would mean that min Torah it's not Shabbos yet. And therefore, many Rishonim conclude, and this is the way we paskin, that we assume Tosefes Shabbos is a mitzvah min Torah. So many are under the mistaken notion that there is no concept of Tosefes Yontif. And the reason why they're under this misperception is because there are some nights of the year, Yontif nights, where you can't bring in Yontif early. I.e., as we'll get to Leil Pesach shortly, let's say Leil Shavuos, we wait until we finish the Tamimis, perhaps Shmini Atzeres. There are different days of the year where we have to wait, or the minhag is to wait until nightfall. So people are in the assumption that really there is no concept of Tosefes Yontif. That is totally incorrect. The halacha of Tosefes Yontif applies equally to the halacha of Tosefes Shabbos applies equally to Tosefes Yontif. So fundamentally, there is no difference. If you hold as a mitzvah of Tosefes Shabbos min Torah, that would apply as well to Tosefes Yontif. Which leads us to the following question. If that's the case, then, as we mentioned, Rav davened early, and he made Kiddush early, and that's the psak in the Shulchan Aruch, that we can make Kiddush early on Shabbos. So why is it that the Mechaber writes, when it comes to Leil Pesach, one cannot eat ad shetechshach, one cannot eat until nightfall? What happened to the halacha of Tosefes Yontif, Tosefes Shabbos? The same way it works all year round, it should work Leil Pesach as well. In fact, that leads some Rishonim, the Tosefes Harush in Bracha Tadaf Rav Zayin, who says Einach Inami, who says no. He came before the Shulchan Aruch.
Who says that?
The Tosefes Harush. He says, of course, there's a halacha of Tosefes Yontif Leil Pesach, and you can make Yontif early. That'd be great if we pass like the Tosefes Harush in terms of having little kids, in terms of seniors. That would solve a lot of potential problems. But that is the Tosefes Harush's opinion. However, it isn't the accepted halach, and it's not even brought down as a day in Shulchan Aruch. It's good to know this, as we'll see, because b'shas hadcha k'di'evet dami, under pressing situations, if you have elderly people who have to eat earlier and other factors, that will come into the equation. But all things being equal, we do not paskin like the Tosefes Harush, and Hada Kasha L'Dukta, why not? Why is Leil Pesach different than Leil Shabbos? So Tosefes over there in the beginning of our Psachim quotes, V'achul es habasar ba'layla hazer, we have the Erev Tochlu Matzos, the Gemara makes a hekesh between Karban Pesach and Matzah. So we learn out just like the Karban Pesach could be eaten at night, and so too, and Tosefes over there learns it's Davka Chashecha, Tosefes, because that's based on the Mishnah Arvei Psachim. So Tosefes over there says, Tosefes doesn't work, and you have to eat the Karban Pesach Balayla. And the Gemara over there in Psachim connects Matzah. So the bottom line is, the Rishonim have rayas, and that's the way we assume, that Leil Pesach, you can't eat until nightfall. But the question is, why not? What's the pshat in the Shulchan Aruch? Why do we wait until nightfall? Why not go with Tosefes Yontif and Shabbos and bring in, especially now that they're changing the clocks at least in North America, this coming Motzai Shabbos, March 10th, and therefore everything's going to be later, how much more so we want to toast this Harash. So how much more so, what is the reason why the Shulchan Aruch says Ad Shetechshach? So it's a famous dispute among the Achronim, two famous commentators on the Shulchan Aruch, the Magen Avram and the Taz. The Magen Avram says, you know what the pshat in the Shulchan Aruch is? Why is it that we have to wait until nightfall? So the Magen Avram says, it has nothing to do with Kiddush at all. Ein achinami, you can make Kiddush early. This is how you can make Kiddush early every Friday night. You can make Kiddush early Leil Pesach. So why don't we? Because it wouldn't help us. Making Kiddush wouldn't help the situation. Why not? Because the Magen Avram, and based on Tosfos over there, the Gemara talks about, we have a machlokas in the Gemara in Arvei Psachim about the time for finishing the matzah, the afikomen. So do you have to finish it by chatzos, or do we have to talos hashachar? So it's a machlokas Rishonim. We try to follow the opinion that we should finish the afikomen by chatzos. There's the Avnei Nezers tonight, and if you don't have enough time, etc. There's a whole discussion on the matter. And just to point out, as Rav Ham always pointed out, that we need the Mishkol HaChasidus, that if, whether it's the woman in the house or the man in the house, whoever it is, spent hours and hours preparing for Pesach, so you say, great, so I'll do my Haggadah up 15 minutes before Chatzos, so whatever, we'll run through the meal and we'll go right into it. That's not proper either. And besides the fact, it's Leil Pesach, you're supposed to have a Sudas Yontif, so that should be done properly as well. So that's not really an Eitzah. So, well, at least it's not an appropriate Eitzah. So, and you have to be Ro'ez Hanola, that you give yourself enough time. So they point out that that's a machlokas by afikomen. So people always come back, especially kids, and maybe some adult kids as well. Everyone talks about, when did you say to them last night? And and everyone's trying to show off, maybe in a positive sense, at least you're showing off about a good thing. Might say the assumption is you say it is longer, there's more divrei Torah, whatever the assumption is. I say to finish at 3 o'clock. Mine finished at 3:30. So Rav Shachta always says over the story, I guess when this kid probably went to Breuer's in Washington Heights, so that all the kids in the class were saying they went to 2, 3, 4, and Rav Shachta, my say to finish by Chatzos. Like he was, why? Because what's the pshat? Because Rav Shachta goes with the poskim that not only did it did in the afikomen, but it did in all the mitzvahs hayom. That when we make the hekesh to Chatzos, that all the mitzvahs hayom have to be not only finish the studio, you got to finish the challah. All the mitzvahs we have in the night of Seder, the Daled Kosas, everything has to be finished by Chatzos. That's what Rav Shechter is machmer to do. So the Magen Avram, working with the Shita, working with the Balitosis, etc., that it's a din in all the mitzvahs hayom. So the Magen Avram writes that it's not just matzah that has to be done at nightfall, but Daled Kosas also can't begin until nightfall. And therefore, that's why the Magen Avram says it would help you. It's true, strictly speaking, according to the Magen Avram, you can make Kiddush, but then you'd have to have another cup anyway when it comes to nightfall, because you'll have to have the first cup. Because last I checked, it always happens, the first cup is always the mitzvah of Kiddush, so therefore it's also the first cup of the 4. So therefore, out being part of the 4 cups of wine, that's why the Magen Avram says that's the pshat in the Machaber. You have to wait until nightfall, not out Kiddush per se, but since it's one of the 4 cups, and you have to finish the 4, you can't begin the 4 cups until nightfall. That is the Shita of the Magen Avram. The Taz totally disagrees. Well, they're both explaining the Shita of the Machaber, but they're going to give 2 totally different reasons. The Taz says it has everything to do with Kiddush. That's the reason why the Machaber says Kol Yochel Ad Shetechshach. What do you mean it has everything to do with Kiddush? Because we have halacha, the Gemara in Arvei Psachim and other Gemaras, that we need Kiddush b'makam suda. There's halacha of Kiddush b'makam suda. And again, you get into details how far you extend it, whether you're in the same room, if I could see you, how far. But whatever the extensions are, you need Kiddush B'Makam Suda. It's a discussion in the Rishonim Achronim in Lamdis. Is it midin Kiddush? Is it Makshiv to make the Kiddush more whole, to make it more important, or to be Makshiv Yisuda? Whatever the Lamdis is, we need Kiddush B'Makam Suda. So that's the simple pshat. Kiddush B'Makam Suda means that you eat Kiddush, you make Kiddush in the place where you're going to eat the Suda. The Taz, he has a bigger Kiddush. He extends Kiddush B'Makam Suda. So not only does it, of course it means you need Kiddush B'Makam Suda literally, but it's a halachic concept. Kiddush B'Makam Suda means you have to be able to have the halachic Suda at this time. In other words, if I can't eat the Suda now, then I can't make Kiddush now. And what is the definition of the Suda on Pesach? It's the matzah. Matzah is the meal. So therefore, since we have a halacha, v'achos abasa b'layla zeh karban Pesach equal matzah b'erev tochu matzahs, we can't eat the matzah until nightfall, and that is the Suda, and we have a halacha Kiddush B'Makam Suda, hence you can't make Kiddush during Tosefes Yanta because it'll be lacking in Kiddush B'Makam Suda. Because since I'm making Kiddush now and I can't eat the Suda until later. In fact, this seems to be the Taz Lishitason, consistent with another Taz elsewhere. There's a machlokas in general in other places, but let's say every Leil Shabbos we said you can make Kiddush B'Makam Suda. Every Leil Shabbos said you can make Shabbos early. You can make Kiddush early. So what about? So we said making Kiddush and eating the Suda. Is one permitted to finish the Suda while it's still Mebod Yom, or do I have to? I could start the Suda, but I have to eat a kazayas of bread, challah, at nightfall. So that's a further machlokas in the Achronim. How far do you take it? Do I have to eat kazayas at nightfall? No. I could eat meikar adin. I could finish my meal and I could take a walk around the river bank while it's still yet day. That's using that mushroom of the Nishma-s. There's a Nishma-s it's a whole shiloh whether the Nishma-s made up the shilohs or not. That's a discussion. Either way, well, you could say that nafkamina is if it was a real shiloh or not, but he talks about, because that was the shiloh, one of the shilohs they asked him. He has a big chiddush regarding Tosefes Shabbos in terms of perhaps even doing it, even perhaps doing it before Plag HaMincha, in terms, because they talk about the case over there wherever you live, that they used to be taking the walk, they used to walk around town, and they finished the meal while it was still yet day. So either way, so they point out that it's a machokas in the poskim achronim. So according to the Taz, you have to say that you'll be able to eat the Suda Mabol Jom and finish it, because it'll be the Taz V'Shitasan, because according to the Taz, to give it, the Gemara says you can be Yotzei Kiddush Mabol Jom. So according to the Taz, Kiddush Makam Suda means you need Kiddush when it's royal with Suda. If you're telling me the Suda has to be done at nightfall, then I wouldn't be able to. According to other Achronim, you don't have to make the Kiddush. If you don't hold like the Taz's Chiddush, then it's not a kasha. But according to the Taz has to say that you could finish the Suda Mabol Yom, or else you couldn't. For the fact that it could be Yotzei Kiddush, it's the Taz L'Shitasan. So that's a famous machlokas, the Magen Avraham and Taz, regarding the Pshat and the Machaber, Lo Yochel Ad Shetechshach. Why not? According to the Magen Avraham, it's a din in the Dalit Kosos, it's a din in the Mitzvahs Halayla, and just like all Mitzvahs Halayla must be done Balayla at Seitzach L'Chavim and not before. Kiddush is the first of 4 cups, hence that must be done Balayla. And according to the Taz, there's nothing to do with the Mitzvahs Halayla, it's a din in Kiddush. It's lacking Kiddush but Makam Suda, because part of the din of Kiddush is it has to be a Zman which is Roy with Suda. So my nafkamina between the Magen Avraham and the Taz, either way, we're going to be waiting until nightfall to have a meal. So what's my nafkamina? So a couple of nafkaminas we touched on. One, the there'll be a nafkamina, kul, and a chumrah. In other words, according to the Magen Avram, strictly speaking, midin kiddush, you can be yotzei b'bod yom. You don't have to repeat kiddush, you just have to drink another cup later on. But according to Taj, you can't be yotzei kiddush before Ajat Tachshach. And on the reverse angle, according to the Magen Avram, not only do you have to, I can't start the first cup of wine until nightfall, but I have to finish all 4 cups by Chatzos. Masha'in Kain, according to the Taz, the din of Kiddush at Laila has nothing to do with, it's a separate discussion. The Taz isn't locked in to say that he has to finish, so it works in both angles. That according to the Magen Avram, you could start Kiddush earlier, but you have to finish the Dalal Kosas. Well, according to the Taz, you can't be Yotzei Kiddush earlier, but perhaps you don't have to be Mach for the minig is certainly by Matzah, we hold Ma'ikar Adin. Obviously, I think many have the minig, or just the Hachush Machish. Many people are lucky to get to the Afikomen by Chatzos, and they usually finish the meal, much later. I say Rav Shechter's more of a Chiddush. I'm not saying a Chiddush in the halacha, not a Chiddush meaning it seems to be the minority from all the Siddurim I've been at that most don't, and then he says it's no problem, so go ahead. It's not that Rav Shechter's going to sleep right after. Then you have all night to discuss Hilchos Pesach. You could go over Shtikot. He's just being machmir for that issue of the Magen Avram. That it's all the mitzvahs halayla, and not just those. Those are the two. Those are the two shittas within the Magen Avram. And of course, even though we don't paskin like the Tosfos Harash, but nevertheless, people have to realize the Shulchan Aruch also says, but mimahir, one should begin it as soon as possible. It's not like the Shulchan Aruch is saying like it's no rush. It is a rush. The Machabes feels locked in. You can't start before Seitz, but start at Seitz. So again, it gets into different minhagim, whether, and it depends what your minhag is all year round. Whether some people are going to start davening Ma'ariv at Seitz, so obviously if you wait 72 minutes, 50 minutes, depending on what you do all year round, so you have to what right away means. But for those who don't have a problem all year round, they're davening Ma'ariv before Seitz HaChochavim, so there's no reason if they do it all year round, there's no reason they can't, assuming they have to repeat Kriyat Shema later on, that they should start the Seder at Seitz HaChochavim. Depending on, and then you get into what Seitz HaChochavim. So then again, for elderly people, for young men, the different shittas in Seitz HaChochavim. So in general, on a mitzvah in Torah, we're strict on a mitzvah d'Rabbanan Lameko. So that gets into how you deal with pressing situations in terms of nursing homes, elderly, and that's always the Mishkal HaChasidus, working out the balance between doing things at the proper time, the ideal time, and keeping in mind, knowing what the b'di'evids are, that at least the person that gets to fulfill the mitzvahs min Torah of Tzipor Yitzias Mitzrayim, Matzah, etc.